Hi, Jacob. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Good, sir.
So, right off the bat, we're going to talk about goats and vegetation control. I see that you have a goat with you right now.
I have several. Would you like to see them?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about the goat that you're holding right now, or is there anything in particular?
Hold on, let me get them up on the left. So this is Patches. We normally don't bottle raise goats. We like them to be dam raised, raised by their mom. But their mom didn't make enough milk. So we pulled them and we're bottle raising them, and they makes them pretty useless, as you can see. I said he wants to eat the phone.
Are goats picky about what they eat?
Yes, actually, even if you was to take a brand new fresh piece of leaf and throw it on the ground, they won't eat it once it's touched the ground.
So,
and we've even had situations where someone has sprayed Roundup and it's been up to a year later and they won't eat vegetation because they can smell the chemicals.
So exactly how are goats used to control vegetation? Why don't you talk about some of the...
Well, what we do is we go out, and the first thing we do is we do a free estimate, measure it in square footage in about 400 square feet per goat per day. And then another thing that we look for is any poisonous plants, hazards. We've realized through doing this that ponds are not a problem. Well, goats instinctively don't like to get their hooves wet. So they're going to eat to the water line, but they won't get in the water. And then we give the customer the quote based on how many goats we think it'll take, and we charge $8 per goat per day.
So without naming the association or associations, you're already currently working with some HOAs. And what have your goats done exactly for the HOAs? What kind of vegetation have they controlled?
Well, an HOA in Charleston, we ate up essentially a spillway that came off of some of their retention ponds that had became overgrown and actually really snaky. We did HOA in Columbia, which involved 10 goats for 30 days. Their entire road line, everything that their whole road frontage was overgrown, and come to find out when the goats had cleared everything, a lot of the residents had been throwing trash in there. And then we've done a retention pond and spillway for Lexington HOA as well, that had got overgrown and started actually growing into people's property, and we beat all that back in about 16 days.
So what was the advantage of using the goats compared to using a regular landscaper?
Well, in Columbia, it was cost. I think it was about $1,200, and they had a quote for $5,000. In Lexington, it was terrain. It was very, very steep and rocky, and the rocks would even slide as you walked on it. I remember measuring it. I had to slide down the hill with my butt. They couldn't get equipment in there because even bush hogs and stuff like that could have overturned. So in Lexington, it was definitely terrain because they couldn't get equipment to do it. And the goats they're very able-bodied. You know, they're designed for this. There's pictures of goats standing on the side of Hoover Dam. In Charleston, I would say it was cost again. It was about $500 for the goats there, and I think they had another quote from somebody to do the same thing for about $1,800. I think they might have also been worried about erosion.
As far as the residents' reaction to goats, what do you usually find, or what is the impact to the community when your goats are on premises?
Oh, well, people meet people they didn't know that lived there. A couple things. I don't own any mean goats because I don't want to deal with them every day as a job. The liability is too high for other people to have to deal with them. We do have insurance, and we did with the homeowner association, we did a COI. But I've never had to use it, knock on wood. Well, only problems we've ever had is when people do things, not when goats do things. You know, at the one in Charleston, the kids decided they wanted to turn the fence off and let the goats out so they could run and play with them in the neighborhood. and they grabbed a pack of crackers, and the goats followed them right back in the fence. But part of that is, you know, dealing with our animals and making sure that they're not wild, so that if they go out of the fence, they don't run off, they go to the people. I wanted to caveat on one thing. You was asking about the different locations. It's not exactly an HOA, but one of the places I saw the goats really do a really good job was all the water retention ponds for Richland County School Districts, but they used them for all their retention ponds, and it's already fenced in. That's a place that works really good because most of the retention ponds are really steep.
We've spoken previous to this, and I was impressed about how much you care about your goats and your goats' well-being. Maybe you could just, show a couple more goats here a little bit. I meant, are goats a difficult kind of animal to maintain or utilize, or?
Well, I would say that, stop eating my phone. This is Snowball. He's eating my phone. He's a La Mancha. So I would say that any livestock has their particularities. If you don't know nothing, you can't do nothing. You know, so many people get into a business, whatever it is, and they don't know nothing, and they figure they'll figure it out as they go, and that's really not the right answer when it comes to animals. Another thing is noticing that the tails are up. Tails up means they feel good. Tails down means they feel bad. If the coat looks ratty, either they shed the winter coat and need to be brushed, or we need to check their minerals. Are they getting enough copper? Are they getting enough selenium? Also, we check their eyes. Rare steak means that goat is healthy and ready to go to work. If the goat isn't healthy, he doesn't go to work. We just delay the job, because I'm not going to put my animals at risk.
I know I'm going to get this question. What about the goat manure? What is it? What is it like if you go and you do a project, you know, let's say near a retention pond, which would be a common scenario for an HOA? What is the area going to look like when you leave?
So the good thing is it looks like everything's wiped out. There will be a little bit of stemmy. The thicker, anything bigger than your thumb will be left with no leaves, and it will eventually die. The goat manure looks like deer pellets or rabbit pellets. And after a day of it drying, you can literally take your foot, drag it across it, and it disintegrates, and it dries up in 24 hours and just dissipates with the first rain. And another good thing about goats is their saliva, then their rumen inhibits the seeds and future seeds from germinating. It almost has a bio restriction on that stuff coming back so much.
Can you explain a little bit about the electrical fence and the voltage involved, and
Okay,
whether
so I
can...
do not, if they're going to be there multiple days, I do not stay with them. So the electrical fence is got 9 hot wires and a ground wire. We're required to put an electrical fence sign every 200 feet. If you touch it, it's like licking a 9-volt battery. Now, if you're barefooted, standing in a mud puddle, you'll probably get a little more, but it will not kill you. It couldn't kill you if you held on to it for 2 days. If an animal or person was to become entangled in it and got shocked for more than 30 seconds, it actually has a safety feature that shuts down for 2 minutes to allow the person or animal to get out of it. If you set up a regular fence, it doesn't keep dogs, stray dogs. Like Columbia has a lot of stray pit bulls or coyotes out. They will just they can literally climb a fence. With electricity, they will stick the nose to it and they get a little zap. Customers do that I really like is they say, look, from 5 to 6, come by and we'll unplug the fence and you can have goat petting time. And they can go in with them and pet them. They're not aggressive. I'll feed them treats.
How did you get into the goat business? You're retired military, correct?
Yes, sir. I retired in 2019 and I own some property at Eastover. And I wanted to, don't eat the phone. I wanted to clean it up. And I bought 8 goats. I had goats growing up and I bought 8 goats and I cleaned it up and sold it for double what it's worth. And I said, there's got to be a market for this.
You'll leave them somewhere for days, right? And that includes nighttime, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what do they do at night? I mean, well, I know I'm going to get this question. Are they making a racket? Are they sleeping? Are they hiding somewhere? Or what happens at night?
Hungry goats are noisy. As long as they got some meat, they're not. So goats eat 22 hours a day.
And they eat poison ivy, right? Which is like a big plus, correct?
And we've had a lot of backyard jobs where that's came in handy, where people said, "Oh, I tried to cut it myself and I got poison ivy all over me." I said, "Well, they'll eat all that." If you don't mind, one last thing before you go, I wanted to take you on a little tour.
That would be great.
So this is the baby pen. These are babies that have been weaned, and are about 3 months old, and they are getting ready to go to work. So we got them all together so we can treat them individually, and these get the most medicines, care. This is where our new mamas or soon to deliver mamas go. As you look, this one here is about 2 weeks old, so he's not in the baby pen. He's still nursing off mama. This is Everest. And these are not off mama yet. So there's their mama. And those two are still nursing, so they're with mama.
And that goat's about 2 weeks old.
Yes, he's 2 weeks old. Look at him. But that's why you get large breed goats. But look how able-bodied they are. I also use chickens. They keep the dirt turned over and they eat bugs and ants and stuff. And this is our pet cow. We bought him last May, gonna eat them, and then we named them and we gave him treats, and the rest is history. And this is one of our sires. He doesn't go to work. This is Big Mac. He's friendly, but he's just too pushy because he knows he's the boss.
Right.
And as you can tell, he is huge.
Yeah.
He weighs 200 pounds plus. He has a horn spread of about 2 feet. And then over here, Husky. This goat's name is Husqvarna. We bought him from North Carolina. He is already done with quarantine. He'll be going to work today. Well, I'd say the biggest risk to them is people, and right behind that is poisonous plants that we have to identify.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Jacob. I really appreciate the tour.
He keeps strangers away from messing with it. This is Atlas. This is Atlas. He's a guard dog. He keeps the coyotes away at night.
Who's tougher, the dog or the goat? The big goat?
Oh, the big goat, definitely. He would kill a coyote. And the Atlas won't go near a Big Mac. But you got to think, a 200 plus pound animal is different than a 200 pound man. He's all muscle. You ought to see where him and the cow start pushing each other. It's really funny. There's some horsepower there.
All right. Well, sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us. Much appreciated.
You're welcome, sir. And if you need anything else, holler at me.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.